I think the focus is to not try change too much, and that might be counterintuitive when you're 2-1 down in the series, but we feel like the guys have been excellent for large parts of the series. The repetition of losing lots of wickets in a very short space of time has obviously been the key feature of the 2 losses, and probably both times in Headingley and obviously overnight and first thing in the morning at Lords. We feel cost us the game, losing 6 wickets for 40 again. But if you look at individually, if you look at the run tally of all the batters, they're all batting nicely. Even someone like Curran, we feel his rhythm's good, his tempo's good. We want more runs from mid-3. But the message is mainly, let's really focus on what we've done well and tidy up the little things that have cost us results, essentially. No, we'll make that call in Manchester still. We know we've got him for one of the last 2 tests. I think it's pretty obvious the series on the line now in Manchester, so there will be a leaning towards playing him. But again, we've got to look at all the factors, how many days of cricket are we going to get up there? What do we feel is our best chance of winning that game? And then how that fits in together with the Oval and looking at the last 2 games holistically as part of the series. Look, that was super impressive for Ben to come out in the last day and bowl the amount of overs he did with the intensity he did, and obviously bats and fields as well. We're not here to compare, our bowlers to individuals from other teams. We have our own strengths. We know what particularly Jasprit does in spells, in shorter spells, which is prefers bowling in. And when the time's right, and what I alluded to earlier about Siraj, some bowlers are like that. You get the best out of them in the 7th, 8th, and 9th over. But not everyone has to be the same as that. And we feel that, in consultation with Jasprit, how we use him is the best way for the team. He will bat in Manchester before the test. Look, I don't think you're going to keep Rishabh out of the test no matter what. He batted with quite a lot of pain in the 3rd test, and it's only going to get easier and easier on his finger. And keeping's obviously the last part of the process to make sure that he can keep. We don't want to go through that again where we have to replace the keeper halfway through an innings. But yeah, he rested today. He was trying to give the finger as long as possible, and hopefully he's good to go in Manchester. In the equation, but obviously if Rishabh's fit, he plays the next test and does both. The first thing I'll say is it hasn't felt like a long tour. It's been exciting from day one, like you get up every morning and you can't wait for what the next day brings. And obviously these guys are working so hard, especially the guys that are new to the squad. So it's been a very refreshing tour in that sense. Let's first start with Siraj before we talk about Bums. I think we sort of take for granted how lucky we are to have someone like that. I know he doesn't always have the returns that you expect from a fast bowler, but in terms of heart, he's like a lion, and what he brings to this bowling attack, whenever he does have the ball in hand, you always feel like something's going to happen. He's not someone who's going to shy away from workload, but so it makes it even more important for us to manage his workload and make sure that he's at least fit to give his best. And again, we'll take a call on the combination we play, particularly given the Arshdeep situation as well. We'll make that call closer to Manchester. It could. Also, I'm not sure Manchester's the same as Manchester of 10, 15 years ago. But look, we don't look for excuses and conditions. We're playing on the same wickets as the other team, and I think we've made it a point within the group to stay away from any excuses, and the guys have been really good at that. So the challenge is to get the best out of the players, to look at the conditions we expect, try to fit the pieces of who we can play in that, and just ask the guys to go out there and do their best, like I feel they've done for large parts of the series so far. It has. You've got to sort of weigh up, is it more coincidence, or is there a pattern of something we're doing wrong? Are we losing concentration? Are we getting too excited to get in there? Are we getting complacent in the positions we are? And that's very difficult to draw out of players. So it is something we're mentioning. There's been a few times where you almost feel like it can't happen again. I was throwing balls at the back at Lords when Rishabh got run out, and it was incredulity. You couldn't believe that it happened again. But that's also no guarantee that they're going to put on another 70, 80, 100 runs. Every ball is important. And I think the messaging to the players throughout has been like, let's try win every single event, which is every ball, not look too far forward and not look too far behind us either. It's not a sort of a direct sort of practice machine for Jofra, I'm assuming you're alluding to. But obviously Arsh going away there after he cut his hand, and Akash not bowling today. Sometimes we run a bit thin, and if we think the practice is good for someone rolling off 20 yards and a bit taller and shaping the new ball, it is good practice for the batters. They obviously like competing against Warner as well. But it's mainly about getting the batters the best practice for the test match.